Hi, I'm Jasper. I'm a lesbian tattoo artist from Malaysia.
Hello, my name is Oliver and I'm a trans guy who makes videos about LGBTQI plus people where they get to talk about anything that they want that somehow relates to them being queer. I'm currently traveling around Malaysia, and in the capital Kuala Lumpur, I was invited to a private tattoo studio owned by Jasper.
My name's Jasper. Some people call me Jen, and I run a queer tattoo parlor called Pvssy Parlor. I identify as a female, I'm a lesbian, and I use she/her pronouns.
She started Pvssy Parlor to be a safe space for queers.
So I started Pvssy Parlor in March of 2023. I've been working in the tattooing industry for about 6 years now, and I see a lot of need for a queer tattoo space because I think it's really important for our community to have a space where they can explore their body and explore their expression in a private setting where they can be entirely free.
She has such a beautiful way of speaking about tattoos.
I think in Malaysia especially, like a lot of tattooing has to do with like the perception of yourself, but also about how other people perceive you. Like getting tattoos can be gender affirming, for people who are in the middle of transitioning and maybe they're moving up, and certain tattoos like just fit on their body and like make them feel good or make them closer to like the gender that they want to be. And I think being a tattooer that can help make that happen is so important, because I am not trans, but I feel like we need to make space for like our other like trans brothers and sisters in this community. Like they need to feel seen, they need to feel heard, and they also need a space where they don't have to say all this private stuff in front of people who might not understand. So we run a very private tattoo studio where it's not accessible by the public at all, and there will be no surprise visits from the government.
Because being LGBTQI plus in Malaysia isn't always easy.
So Malaysia is not the most LGBTQ friendly, but we have a thriving community here, so the people who are able, like myself, we work to create safe queer spaces in Malaysia where we can gather, we can be who we are, we can interact with people who understand us, and you can just sit in your own queer joy and still be comfortable and not have to worry about your security, which is a big concern in Malaysia. Well, there have been cases before where the government together with our religious police, they work together to raid queer spaces, and there have been arrests made, and there have been convictions with regards to cross-dressing and things like that are against Malaysian law currently. But I think it's such a harmless thing, it's if they want to wear what they want to wear, how does that hurt anybody? It doesn't. But yeah, I think in this community, we all have to look out for each other, especially because the queer community here is actually it's expanding, but a lot of us, we all know each other, right? Because you would only introduce your friends to other safe friends, of course, right? So we end up being quite close in this community. And I think that when you create a space like a tattoo parlor that's queer and that it's private, it's comfort first, then they feel more confident to explore their options regarding their body than if they had to walk into a public tattoo parlor that anybody could walk into and you don't know if your artist will be alright, I guess, with who you are.
Jasper fell in love with tattoos at a young age.
So when I was growing up, I had a lot of older friends. It was I was in high school and they'd be in college and they had these full sleeves, and I just thought, that is so cool, because they were from a respectable family, and over here tattooing, getting tattoos, having tattoos on your body is seen as oh, maybe you're a bad kid or a gangster. That's some people have that perception still, but they were very well respected, and I just thought they were so cool and they were so confident. They never let it bother them, the way people saw them, the way people thought that they were bad people, that didn't matter to them at all. And growing up hearing the total opposite and seeing them overcome that, I really wanted to be part of that world. Like, you don't choose the body you're born with, but you decide what happens to it. You decide how you want to be perceived or how you want to perceive yourself. And tattoos are so like intimate and so specific. Like, you can curate something that only you have, and that just makes it gives you a sense of peace, I feel.
It can also be a way of reclaiming your body.
So another reason I think tattoos are actually like really important is because I think it's a way to like reclaim your body from how you grow up like with the misconceptions about your body, about like what society places and like what your body has to be, how it has to look. There's like a lot of people who grow up and they feel like, I don't look good, I don't look attractive, I don't look pretty unless I look like what other people think I should look like. And that's not just for queer people, that's for everybody. And I think that getting tattoos, because tattoos are so specific and they can be so original and unique, that when you get them, you can make your body so entirely you that you don't feel the need anymore to like make it match what other people want it to look like. If you can look in the mirror and look at all your tattoos and be like, damn, I look fucking good. Then if other people don't like your tattoos, then, well, it's not on their body. So I think it's an expression of autonomy. You know, we get to control so little in this life. And tattoos, you get to control almost every aspect of it. From the time you walk in the door and you tell me what you want, and the planning, the expectation, like every little thing doesn't go forward until our clients say, this is perfect, this is good, let's do this.
Even though tattoos are pretty looked down on in society, Malaysia has a long history of traditional tattooing.
With tattoos in Malaysia, we actually have like a lot of indigenous communities where tattooing is part of their culture, right? But they have this sort of like battle that, because it's part of their culture, it's part of their world, but a lot of Malaysia feels like, ooh, tattooing is not our thing. We are a conservative country and like tattoos are like really too badass, I think. Yeah. So I think there should be like spaces not just for like queer people, but for other minorities as well. Like, you should not have to give up your culture that you've had like for fucking centuries just because somebody from like other walks of life don't want it on their body. Because we're not like, tattoos are personal, they're intimate, and like we're not telling everyone, yeah, you need to get tattoos to be who you are. No, sometimes if you don't want to have tattoos and stuff, that is entirely your choice. Your body, you get to decide.
Another important aspect of Pvssy Parlor is the inclusion of people with different skin tones.
I think another thing about like being in Malaysia and being surrounded by this like really multicultural background is that you get like all kinds of skin. So like I've worked on people who are not generally in Malaysia, like different nationalities, different like tourists. Also like I've worked on indigenous people in Malaysia, I've worked on Indian people, Chinese people. I think that when you try on all these like different skin tones and you take the time to understand like the different techniques, the different like designing methods you can take to work with the contrast that you need in these skin tones, you can tattoo anybody. I don't want people to like go and have their first experience of getting a tattoo and getting told that you're too dark to have a tattoo and it won't look nice on you and you can't have color. That's just, why go somewhere and like be rejected like that, you know? When someone can like just sit down with you, take the time to explain like, okay, so if you want a color tattoo, like these are the ways you can do it, this is the kind of process that it'll be with your skin, and this is how we're going to design it. It takes some time to sit down and have a conversation with people, but I think it's more important to like get it right than to give them like some false information. And if you don't know something in tattooing, I think you should always say, can you give me some time to like research? Can you give me some time to discover, like maybe I can look up some options on how to work with your skin, instead of saying you can't do it. because that's not true.
Let's finish this video with Jasper's dreams about the future.
I have some wild dreams. The wildest would probably be I hope my studio can become a public studio with no fear of like consequences. But that's just a dream, you know, and I think I want to be realistic about things without letting go of like queer joy. Because yes, things in Malaysia, they're like not really LGBTQ friendly, but that doesn't mean that we live in a corner, we live in the closet like hiding out of fear. We find other ways to be who we are and enjoy being with ourselves and being with our community. And I want Pvssy Parlor to be a space where people can come in and they don't have to worry about all that other stuff. They can just talk to me about like plans that they have for their body and how it's gonna feel, or what like the tattoo pieces like mean to them. I want them to like feel really comfortable and really safe. And I hope that because Pvssy Parlor is really new, that more people will get to know us and try us out. We really are safe.
If you enjoyed watching that video, please like, comment, subscribe and share the video. I really appreciate you showing your love in that way. If you also want to support the channel financially, that's possible via Patreon, but really no pressure. See you next time!